Well, welcome to Morning Star Journal News. My name is Matthew Detweiler. In August of 2021, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said vaccination against COVID-19 is, quote, necessary to protect the force and defend the American people, unquote. Well, since August of 2021, many cities, states, and even countries have dropped the COVID mandates due to COVID cases dropping. There have been a lot of lawsuits challenging the mandates, and there's also been studies of the vaccine showing that it's not 100% safe or 100% effective. But the U.S. military has not relented. Lloyd Austin still demands that every soldier be vaccinated by this July. And the penalty for not following that order is very severe. According to the Army's website, not one religious exemption has even been approved. So for soldiers that do not want to take the vaccine, what are they supposed to do? Today, joining the show, we have an Army sergeant who is going to share his story and the situation that he's in with this COVID vaccine mandate. And our viewers will be shocked at his story. So Sergeant, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for your service for this country. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, sir.
So can you just kind of tell us your situation that you're in right now with the mandate?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So overall, I've spent 18 years in service. So I'm getting pretty close to retirement already.
Okay.
But with the vaccine mandate that's come down, normally with any other vaccine, the flu shot, any of that stuff, if you have a medical professional who's given you an exemption, the military just puts it in the system and codes you, and that's it. It's clean cut. It's one document. With this new one that's come out with the COVID vaccine, originally it was, you should all take the shot. It's voluntary. If you don't wear a mask, get tested. And then as soon as Secretary Warmoth put out her guidance at the beginning of the year, that's when everybody started looking at everyone for chaptering out of the military. And so if you don't have the vaccine, currently they're already looking at you for kicking you out of the Army. And if you have a religious or medical exemption then that's gonna sustain you until July. But by July, it's either that you have an approved medical or religious exemption, or by July you're out. So by the end of July, it is either we have the exemptions passed, or we have everyone who is not vaccinated will be discharged. And it's an other than honorable discharge, so it's not bad conduct. However, what that does is any benefits you had, any retirement, any disability from military service, and any health care is forfeited because it's another other than honorable discharge for not refusal to take the medical vaccine, but for refusal of a direct order, because the order is coming from the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of Defense.
Okay, so all the benefits that you have accumulated for 18 years in the Army, if you do not take the vaccine, you will lose all of that?
Correct.
Wow. So,
and to include GI Bill for training after the Army, if I wanted to go back to college, any of those things.
That is just incredible. And according to the Army's website, it says they had like 5,870 exemptions requested, and like 6 medical exemptions approved and 0 religious exemptions. So
that is correct.
And you said something about a doctor giving you a medical exemption?
Yes, sir. So I have a medical exemption right now because earlier in my career, I had a different job where I was traveling a lot to different countries. And when you go to these different countries, you get different vaccines. Well, if you go to multiple different countries, you get multiple vaccines. by going on one of these trips with a barrage of countries, myself and another guy that I worked with got a barrage of vaccines, and 2 weeks later had a pretty negative reaction where our health went downhill very, very quick. And what it inevitably was an autoimmune response to vaccination. And so since then, I've been exempt with no issue from taking any other vaccine. The flu shot is a mandatory vaccine that we have to take every year, just like the COVID is now. And there's been no issues whatsoever. I didn't have to fill out a big packet. I didn't have to go through crazy documentation. It was just like, hey, I see it in your records, and that's it. And there hasn't been any issues for the past, 10 years that I've had that exemption. And now with the COVID...
And you're still living. You haven't taken the vaccine and you're still living.
That is correct. And in the job that I currently have, I have entry-level soldiers, and I have seen as the majority of them have all tested positive for COVID, well over 80%, as well as my family has had COVID. I've had people that have been around that have had COVID. I've sat and had conversations with people that have COVID, and I'm not the best at using hand sanitizer and wearing my mask, but for whatever reason, I have been just fine. So, thank God that I've been very lucky. I know some people haven't. But my understanding from talking to my provider is that there are a majority of us that it's not going to affect. It's that we're not going to have a severe case of COVID. It will be like getting the flu or getting a cold. And then you have the antibodies and your body is able to fight it off. And that's from my provider. My provider's also looked at my records and seen the incident that happened years ago with the vaccines and put me in for a medical exemption, which was originally I was told it would not be accepted because it is a civilian provider and not a military provider requesting that exemption.
But all the exemptions before this, that civilian provider was enough?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So your provider is saying you should not take any more vaccines because it could harm you more than the actual flu would. Like you had serious adverse reactions to the previous one, but yet the military is saying, no, that's not enough. You need a military exemption. If you don't get that, you have to get the vaccine or else lose all your benefits after serving 18 years in the Army.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think this is so different than the other vaccines?
Sir, I can only speculate on it. I mean, I know this is a really big political issue and has been for quite some time. But my entire time in the Army, I've never seen anything pushed like this. I mean, we went through anthrax, where we had the anthrax vaccines. We have the flu shot every year. We've had multiple different, medical encounters, that have come up throughout my entire career, and I've never seen a reaction like this. And the only thing that I can equate it to is that politics has gotten involved in what we are doing as a military fighting force. Because again, I've seen people who have had COVID very, very bad, very, very badly, and have needed to be hospitalized. But from what I've seen in the military, no service member that I've seen has had it to where it's impacted duty, to where it has become what Secretary Warmuth has put out as a hazard for service members and readiness. And I am aware that there are service members who have died from complications. So I'm not discrediting that at all.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I have not seen anyone who has gotten COVID in the service in my realm have any serious complications whatsoever. The only serious complications that I have seen are from entry-level personnel who did get the vaccine because they were mandated to get it and had an adverse reaction to the vaccine. And I have seen 3 cases of that. And all three of those cases are people who are also filing exemptions and have turned in all the documentation that they need. But every step of the way, it is, we need more, we need more, we need more. When they've already turned in documentation that says from their provider that they had an adverse reaction to the first vaccine and that they should not go forward with the second vaccine. And even those personnel are in the same boat. They will be, if their exemption is not approved, it's either get the second vaccine or you're kicked out.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, I think I personally, that's just so wrong. And I believe that's why you're speaking out against this right now, because you believe it's wrong. Do you see a lot of other people that are in your similar sort of situation that are facing this consequence of losing everything in the Army?
I do know other people that are in the exact same situation, and we are all thinking the exact same way. We've been watching as, the Navy SEALs case. My understanding is that they went forward with their case, and they have a federal judge who put a stay on the order to remove any personnel from the Navy while this is going on. So they can't be discharged because of a lack of vaccination status until this case is done. However, in the Army, we don't have a stay while we're looking for it. We just have to push through with our exemptions, and our exemptions aren't going anywhere. And so all of us are honestly, we're nervous because we could potentially lose everything that we've done for the past 18 years.
Wow.
Based off something that we don't see is harmful for us.
Out of the all the service members, what would you say is the percentage of people that are against the vaccine?
From what I've seen, the majority of the personnel that I work with and have worked with all have the exact same mindset, that it is wrong to force this. I know a percentage that are saying like, yes, well, we get it, but for the most part, it's people going along just to get along.
Right.
They see that the Army is saying, hey, get this. And I understand, like I've followed orders my entire life, my entire career. And the Army says, get this, and that it's safe, so you should do it. And of course, we don't question. But for the most part, when we're just having conversations, everybody that I work with, for the most part, thinks the exact same way, is that this is wrong. However, you're potentially losing an entire career's worth of work, retirement, healthcare, everything you've been working for your family, if you do not get the vaccine. And so I feel that a lot of service members, it's just you were pressured into it.
Right, and like you said, you've been used to following orders your whole life, but this order is actually putting your life in danger, according to your recent reactions to the other vaccines. So
yes, sir.
So it's hard to follow order when your life is in danger. What do you think the repercussions will be in the Army for discharging, good, independent-minded people that don't want to take the vaccine? Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that we are, I believe we're in the 90 percentile for personnel who have gotten the vaccine. So I don't think there's too much of an impact on losing the soldiers, but inevitably what's going to happen is this. I fully believe that this will be overturned at one point, and the military is going to have to end up either letting the service member back in or reinstate all their benefits. And this is the exact same thing that happened with anthrax during the Gulf War. The anthrax vaccines went out. They kicked anyone out who didn't take it. And then 20 years later, now they're having to reimburse all those soldiers their pensions that they lost for not taking the anthrax vaccines.
Oh, wow. But it was during that 20 years time when these people didn't have any benefits, so they still had to work another job, basically.
Correct.
Wow.
Because most of us enlisted soldiers, if you've spent 18 years in the military, that was your life. You know, whatever you went to college for, you have no other training. When you step out with an other than honorable discharge, where are you going to go work? I mean, we could work construction, we could work, you know, labor jobs, but you will not get another career unless you start over.
Right. I mean, you have to start, and not just that, but I mean, you have families. A lot of you guys have families to provide for, and they've been. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've been kind of depending on this benefits your whole life until this year. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I guess another question with the repercussions, has this COVID kind of divided the military as well? Or like, do you see it as weakening the military because of the people that are for the vaccine, the people that are against the vaccine? Any thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say that it weakened us at all, sir. I mean, our military is very, very strong, very well trained. But I have seen where our priorities have shifted. You know, throughout my career and deploying, we've always focused on training, and that was our readiness. Make sure the soldiers are healthy. Make sure the soldiers are trained to fight.
Right.
And now, for the past 2 years, it's been make sure the soldier has COVID vaccine. Make sure the soldier has a mask. Make sure the soldier is getting tested. And so it's like our priorities have shifted.
Right.
I still think that we are a very, very strong military, but the priorities have definitely shifted away from what made us a very, very strong military.
Wow, that's very interesting. So I guess a final question here. What is the best outcome you could see happening here for your situation, or what are the hopes that you cling to in your situation?
So I do have, as well as the other 5,000 other individuals, have exemptions up for the Surgeon General to review. The Surgeon General, who is not our physician, to make a decision, a final decision on whether we have to get the vaccine. I have the hopes that they will just accept the fact that we have our providers who know us and know our medical situations are making the right decision by saying, hey, you guys do not need the vaccine, and they approve it. If not, I really, really hold my hopes in the politicians, the Congress. The Congress has the ability to move forward with their House resolution that they've been trying to push for the past 6 months to, overall ensure that they will not discharge any soldier for refusal of the vaccine.
Do you know the number of that bill or that they've been trying to pass?
I do not have it in front of me, sir. I know that there are a few congressmen from South Carolina. There's congressmen from Virginia who have all signed on to this. But my understanding is from talking to their offices, they just don't have enough support to bring it to the floor.
Okay.
And I believe it was part of the defense spending package, and it was removed. And as soon as it was removed, that's when Secretary Wormuth put out her memorandum stating that we had until July. So.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So people, okay. So the citizens of America can help you out by contacting their local representatives in D.C. and telling them to pass this health resolution to help.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think we are, and again, we're focused on other issues right now in the world. But I think this one is if the listening audience reaches out to their congressman and they express their views that this is wrong, that across the board we have had the mandates get pulled back from schools, from states, from other federal jobs. Just the military is holding out. If they can push their congressmen to do what I feel is the right thing and pull back this mandate, you're not going to lose these entry level soldiers who are about to start their career. You're not going to lose these career soldiers who can't take the vaccine, whether because of religious reasons or medical reasons. And so it's a very simple fix if people can get the politicians involved, sir.
Yeah. So the power is in the hands of the average, everyday American person, which is what this country was founded upon. So that's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sergeant, for sharing your story. It definitely deserves to be heard. I think you're speaking up for a lot of people the way it sounds that are in a similar situation, and it takes courage for you to step out and speak up against this, knowing that you could possibly lose everything. But you are in a desperate situation, and so we will do everything we can. I know me on my part here in the newsroom, I will do everything I can to get your story out to as many people as possible and urge people to contact their representatives in Congress. So,
Yes, sir.
Thanks again for your service. Thanks for sharing, and God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time, sir.
Wow. I think that is so wrong with how they're treating him. I mean, his life is literally in danger of dying for taking this vaccine, as you have heard. And so if you think that his story deserves to be heard, please share this video with people that you know, friends, family. Share it. You can share it with your congressman in D.C. I think this would be very convincing and urging for them to put this bill that our sergeant was talking about, this health resolution bill that would prevent the military from discharging people for not taking the vaccine. So the power is in your hands. You can make a difference. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, God bless you.